Welcome to my new series, Bourbon Social's Random Dram. I'm your host, James from Bourbon Social. In this series, I will select a random sample of whiskey, review it, then reveal what it is and who sent it to me. In front of me, I have a box of handshakes that were all generously sent to me from members of the Bourbon Social community. In each video, I will select a random sample from this box, pour myself a dram, review it, and try to figure out what it is. As always, before I begin the review, please hit that like button and make sure you subscribe to the Bourbon Social YouTube channel. Okay, so I'm just going to close my eyes and pick a random sample. Here we go. All right, my hand is over the label. I can open them now. I'm going to push this box out of the way. Pour my Glen right here in front. Pour a little sample. I'm going to put this handshake next to me over here so I can't see it. I don't know what it is. Let's get into it. Give it a little swirl on the nose. I think it's already safe to say that this is a rye. I feel like this might be something that I've already had before. This is definitely a rye. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is a rye. A lot of rye spice, some baking spice. It's a little minty. It's got some floral notes to it. I think this is a rye. Let's go for our first sip. Cheers, everybody. Nice warm hug. Some pepper. Let's get acclimated to that first sip. Let me have a little sniff again. So on the nose, you definitely get that rye spice. A little bit of sweet oak. It's minty. It's floral. Maybe a little clove. Let's have our second sip. So right off the bat, I definitely get rye spice, cinnamon, sweet oak, a little bit of a citrus note, your typical baking spices, as I said before, a little nutmeg, a little clove. It has nice flavor, but it doesn't have a big hug, it doesn't have a big finish, it doesn't have a great mouthfeel, it's not oily or complex. Just a nice and easy to sip rye. We'll put this down, let's grab the handshake and figure out what it is. Whoa, so we were 1,000,000% wrong. Widow Jane Anniversary Batch 1 100 proof. Now, here's the question. Is there a rye in Widow Jane? Let me pause this and I'm going to Google it. Okay, so Widow Jane 10-year Anniversary Edition Straight Bourbon Whiskey has a mash bill of 70% corn, 20% rye, and 10% malt. So this is a high rye bourbon. The bourbon is aged for 10 years in American oak and has an alcohol by volume of 50%, so 100 proof. All right, so I was definitely wrong. This is not a rye. I'm kind of baffled that this is a bourbon, and I thought it was either a 95% rye or 100% rye. It wasn't even close. So let's see if I can kind of pick up on that bourbon note now that I know what it is. So I don't want to backpedal and be like, oh yeah, now I smell corn and malt. I don't. I'm still picking up notes of rye. We'll have another sip. Okay, so I can see where I was mistaken. I am getting that sweetness from the high corn mash bill. But again, that 20% rye, it's just kind of overpowering the corn and the malt in this. For 70-20-10, this is very rye forward. On the nose and definitely on the palate. My first Bourbon Social's random dram was totally wrong, which is fine because I am not an expert. That's the whole reason why I'm doing this, to get better. I appreciate you watching. Hopefully in the next review, I do a better job. Let's see what next week brings. Cheers, guys.